Alright, hey guys, welcome, and got a new video for you guys on how to draw faces. I've done a couple face videos before, but this one I want to get into more of those details and making faces look a little bit more realistic. Usually I start out about second grade doing faces and starting to make them a little bit more realistic, have some more realistic details and features, and making the proportions line up a little bit better. So let's get started on this. I'll go through this a little bit quick and a little bit different than some of my other videos, but I'll keep some things consistent. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button down below that you're liking my new videos, and hit the subscribe button while you're down there if you haven't and are one of my fantastic subscribers already. Thank you for doing that. If you aren't, that's the easiest way to get all my new videos that are coming out multiple times a week, packing them in here. So let's get started onto this. The first thing that I want to start with is the shape of the head. The shape that I do is going to be an oval shape. So again, I will start it out really lightly. I'll go over it a few times, and then I'll kind of make it a little bit darker. So do half and then kind of on the other side. So after you have that oval shape onto there, kind of like an egg shape, maybe comes to a little bit more of a point down there, like towards our chin. Then what I always have the kids do is do a little plus sign, and that one I'm actually going to do with a pencil, just so it is nice and light. Now my plus sign should be right in about the middle. This one I'm going to leave light so that you can barely see it, but just know that it is there. So plus sign on there, and that's so I can set up the proportions of the face. I'm going to start out with the eyes, nose, and mouth. I'm going to do those features the way I would do it. Every artist probably does them a little bit different, so try to bear with me if you know different ways. Try to do it this way, the way that I'm doing it, and then see which way towards your final project, since this is just kind of a practice for you guys. Before I get started with some of those features, I'm going to add the neck on there just so I don't forget, because sometimes I actually forget to do a neck, and kids do it kind of ahead of that. So your neck, actually, if you put your fingers kind of on your neck, it kind of follows up and it runs into almost like your jaw. Or I'm going to try to get kids out of doing the really super skinny neck. So the neck would actually kind of come out almost off the side of the head or the side of your oval. And then from there, I always do kind of a little curvy line, and that's kind of your t-shirt line. And then your shoulders also. A lot of kids make their shoulders and their body kind of small because they get that kind of cartoon character, but really your shoulders are quite a bit wider than your head. So shoulders would kind of go out to the side of the paper and out to the side of the paper, and that can have kind of a curve. It's almost kind of curve going up, a curve going down, and then a curve going back up onto there. And that's the basic kind of setup and proportions of the whole portrait. Since it is a self-portrait or a selfie on there, it is just from the shoulders to the head. Okay, so now this is not a boy, this is not a girl. Right away, I'm just drawing the features. It isn't necessarily Mr. Schuette, but really our eyes, our nose, and our mouth are really similar. A lot of those features are really similar. When I set up my eyes, the shape I want to do is a football shape. You want to keep room in the middle. If you actually kind of measure your eye on both sides, you should have room for another one in the middle, so don't put your eyes too close to each other, but also don't make them too far apart. So when you do your football shape, you got that plus sign, so you know that it's kind of going right on that plus sign. I'm going to start it out light, and then once I feel pretty confident that I could probably fit another one in there. They actually say it should be about 5 eyes wide. That's how big your head is, so my head looks pretty good size. Now I'll do it a little bit darker, so I'll do kind of an arch going up and an arch going down. Got one done. Arch going up and arch going down. Eyes, just like the mouth, as we get to the mouth, should come to a point on the side. Should come to a point on the side. And then for the middle part of the eye, that's actually the circle shape. Some people kind of misinform that the eye is a circle, but really just the middle, that eyeball part. And I kind of do till it almost touches the bottom, but not quite. If you actually look in a mirror in front of you, you'll see that that circle doesn't quite touch on the bottom. So I'll do that one on both. On there, so you can see it a little bit. Got my football shape over here. On there, pretty lined up, pretty evenly on there. And then you can actually do another circle in the middle, and that'll actually be kind of the pupil part of it. So you kind of got your football, your bigger circle, and then your smaller circle onto there. Kind of creepy without anything else on there, but let's go down to the nose. For the nose, I do almost like parentheses on words. So if there's parentheses on words, if you start reading chapter books, they'll have some words in parentheses. So I do a parenthesis on this side, and then a parenthesis on this side. I'll make that a little bit darker so you can see. So that's the first part of it, and that should kind of line up, you know, one on one side of your plus sign, one on the other one, and then kind of a curvy line going up towards one eye, and then a curvy line kind of going up towards the other line. So it's really parentheses, parentheses, curvy line, curvy line. And I don't connect that. I kind of feel, if you actually kind of feel on your nose, it kind of blends into your cheek over here. So I don't connect that part, a little gap in between there. And then for the nostrils, I do a curvy line up, or an upside down U, and a curvy line up there. So for this part of it, if you kind of connect all those, I feel like it kind of almost looks like a spork or a fork, but I just leave those like this onto there. So we got the nose, we got the eyes. I think the nose is kind of one of the harder, more difficult features because it's kind of 3D, so it kind of pops out at you, but I think this is a good way to do that. So that's a good start for that. For the mouth, I do a letter in the alphabet, a kind of stretched out letter, and that letter would be a M. So it kind of has that M onto there. I try to go almost to about the middle of the eye with my points on the side of the lips. So it kind of goes towards the middle, curves, and then goes out, almost if you took like the legs of the M and kind of stretched it out long. So that's the top of the mouth. And then for the bottom is just kind of a curved U out to the side, just like the eyes should come to a point on the side. Like I said, it kind of lines up into there. You can do your line in the middle on there. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. That's kind of where the lips kind of go into there. And we got our features set up. The next part I always talk about is hair. I want to try to get kids and break kids out of just putting hair on the very tippy top of their head. Nobody has hair just on the top of their head. Usually, boys have it a little bit easier. Boys' hair is usually pretty short, so there's some sort of line here. Some boys have kind of bangs in the front that cover up a good portion of the head. Just by me covering up this, now it looks a little bit more normal. But understand, we do have a lot of distance, you know, between. That's why I kind of put the eyes in the middle, because kind of if you follow down on there and up from your chin, it's kind of right in the middle. But also there's a lot of portion that's kind of covered up with hair. For girls, it's a little bit more challenging, but some girls have hair that's kind of parted in the middle, that has a little part to it. Some girls, they actually come pretty close to their eyebrows, or if not touching the eyebrows. Some boys also, the bangs kind of touch the eyebrows in there, but really some of that portion is covered up with hair on the top. So I'll show you a couple examples of different types of hair, different styles of hair that might help you onto your person. I'm gonna leave my guy bald for right now while I talk about the eyes. Another feature you can put on the eyes is kind of that line above. That's kind of when your eyelid kind of closes. That line above helps that. That is not the eyebrows yet. That is not the eyebrows yet. And then the eyebrows can kind of be filled in on top of that. So don't forget about that. Ears, I do a skinny C, so not a regular C. I guess that would be a regular C. If you do a regular C, it'll kind of look like your ears are kind of popped out. We don't want it that popped out. We want them a little bit skinnier of a C. And they're probably about the eyes to the nose size. So you kind of go up and then down, up and then down. Everybody's ears are a little bit different, but that's pretty similar onto there for ears. Sometimes they have that little kind of C on the inside. That's the part where you kind of plug your ears, and then a lot of them have that line that kind of follows onto there. So that's a little easier way to do that. So it's pretty set up. It's up for the hair. I'm gonna do my hairstyle on there. You do what hairstyle works for you. I'll kind of fast forward and then I'll kind of speed it up. Alright, so there it is. I got it all finished. Got to add a little bit of hair and some of the eyebrows, a little bit of shading, little features onto there. So it looks fantastic, looks better than what we did before, but remember, keep remembering that this is a frustrating project. This has some frustration in it. Mine looks a little bit better because I have done this over and over and over. But if you follow some of those basic principles, I'll show you some examples in the classroom even that have some of those basic features still for the football, for the eyes, the parentheses for the nose, the M for the mouth, the C, the neck areas that just have some more detail and more practice. Because the more practice you do, the better you will get at it. So thank you guys for viewing this. Make sure to comment down below on maybe your most difficult part of the face, the part of the face that you kind of struggle with the most. Mine is probably in the nose, I would probably say on that. So that is my video for how to draw a face. Thank you guys for viewing this. As always, I am Mr. Schuette. This is Mr. Schuette's art class, and we will talk to you guys later.